friends. It's almost that time, almost that time. We're going to once again ask you to do me a favor. There's some empty seats that I'm seeing. I'm going to ask everybody to gentlemen, good afternoon. Clap one time if you're with me. Clap 2 times if you care. All right, that was good. That was good. Good afternoon, Florida Civics and Debate Initiative. We're so excited to celebrate the 2026 Florida Civics and Debate Initiative State Championship. The time has come for the final round, but right before that final round, we have some individuals we'd like to thank and we'd like to introduce to you all. So everybody, please do us a favor. As you know, we're going live in this final round. So we're gonna ask you to please silence your phones. Silence your phones. We'd hate to hear phones ringing and getting picked up in that live stream feedback. So please kindly silence your phones. So we're really grateful for New College of Florida for hosting us. This is the second time that we're hosted by New College of Florida, and boy, do they do a really good job. Let's give a warm round of applause for our partners, our friends, New College of Florida, the Honors College. Now, we have many friends at New College of Florida. One of them is President Richard Cochran, former Commissioner of Education, former Speaker of the Florida House, who was a day one believer in the power of civics education and speech and debate. And when we got together with Commissioner Cochran at that time and we envisioned what Florida Civics and Debate Initiative could become, we knew that this would grow. We knew that it would hit all 67 counties in the state of Florida. But look around to your left and to your right. Never did we imagine and envision that it would come so fast. So give yourselves a round of applause for believing in the power, the transformative power of civics education through speech and debate. And also, on behalf of President Richard Cochran, we have a friend, Dr. David Rancourt, Vice President and Vice Provost of New College, Florida, who's here to give us the official welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm FCDI welcome to Dr. David Rancourt.
Well, my first report to the president is, sir, we're going to need a bigger tent next year. Yeah. How about that? I'm a bit awed by this crowd, this audience, but the hardware behind me. And it's not just the hardware that is impressive. What's impressive about it is not everybody here gets a trophy. This is a competition. You know how hard you work. You know how hard this is. You know the time and energy that you put in to the preparation of speech and debate. And you're on your way to be able to do remarkable things in life. I tell our students here, when they defend their senior theses, I said, you will stand up in front of your peers, in front of a faculty committee, your primary professor, articulate your ideas, make your case about the facts that you've researched and studied over the past year or longer. And if you're capable of doing that, to stand on your feet, to answer questions, everything you'll have to do the rest of your life is easy. You know, to go into your boss and ask for a weekend off or a week off, to go to a legislative committee and articulate a change for a law or an appropriation. If you've done this, that's easy. So congratulations for having the courage to be a competitor and also a courage to be, as Teddy Roosevelt called it, the man in the arena, and that goes for ladies too. So welcome to all of our students, and I also want to give a shout out to the parents. We're blessed in this country to live, I think, in the greatest country in the history of the world. And I think a lot of people take it for granted. But I know the people under this tent understand the sacrifices that were made by people before us to give us this incredible republic that we live in. And it's worth fighting for. It's worth defending. And you can't fight for it or to defend it if you don't understand what made it so. So thank you for your study. Thank you, parents, for raising amazing young men and women who are going to go on and lead this country. And there's a lot of naysayers that say America's in trouble. I'm blessed to be in our classrooms every day and to witness things like this, to know that our future is, in fact, very, very bright. I want to recognize a few very important people and organizations today. First of all, I want to thank President Corcoran. Abe said it right. I mean, Richard is an incredible leader. He's first and foremost, I think, an amazing man, an amazing father, a loving husband. He was the guy that led us out of the COVID mess. He was the first department of education in the country to say our students aren't learning much at home. We need to get back in the classroom. He was criticized for it initially until everyone realized, yeah, it actually works. So Richard led Florida first, and the rest, and Governor DeSantis as well, and our nation followed. Our current Florida Department of Education, our current Secretary of Education, Stasi Kamoutsas, is here, and I want to thank Stasi for his incredible support of this organization and our college. And Lindsay Zander with the Florida Education Foundation, a huge supporter and an important part of this process. Please, yes, each one deserves a quick applause. The Florida Civics and Debate Initiative and the Ronald Reagan Foundation. My good friend Richard Schroeder came all the way from California to be here and to support this organization, this debate, and the foundation. So Richard, thank you. Quite an honor to represent the Gipper, an amazing guy, and my president when I was a college kid, so an amazing, amazing time in life. And then the Florida Debate Initiative with Abe Lopez over here, so thank you, Abe. And we have some amazing panelists that Richard will introduce later, so I'll save the time and allow him that great privilege. I want to recognize the Florida legislature is represented here. All of you in the room know we have 3 separate but equal branches of government in our state, and the legislature is a huge piece of that. One half of the bicameral process of the legislature, a future leader, speaker designate, 2028, is here today with us from Lakeland, Florida, Jennifer Kennedy. So welcome, Representative. And Florida is number one in education, K through 12, number one in education at the college level because of the financial commitment and the toil that our legislative and executive branches put in to support our students, our faculty, our administrators to make it so. Education is not cheap, but the commitment is firm and it is vast, and we thank the representative and all our legislators for their support. And I also want to thank County Commissioner Mark Smith, who's here, and thank you for your support, Commissioner. And Liz, his daughter, who happens to be a part of the Campus Debate Initiative and also a teacher in our public schools. So thank you, sir, for that. Yeah, it's amazing to me, and I want to give a 2-minute pitch for New College because I'm just a shameless advocate and I can't help myself. But what President Corcoran has done here through his leadership has changed everything. This is the most beautiful campus in the country as far as I'm concerned, and I know my friend from California is thinking Pepperdine, but I think we got a better view than they do, sir. But we have the average class size of 13 at New College. We have, for every student, we have 1 PhD faculty member to teach. It is an incredibly special place. In addition to getting a letter grade or the equivalent of letter grade, our faculty are required to advise all of our students, but also to write narrative evaluations on how each student performed in the classroom. You may be the best student in the class and get a critical evaluation because you're brilliant, but you're lazy, but you still got an A. You may be a very average student who overperforms, outkicks their coverage, works their tail off, and get a glowing evaluation and maybe get a B or a B minus. So we take that very seriously here, the evaluation of our students. We also have a January independent study period that is truly unique in the state where our students do deep research directly with PhD faculty members. They're in the bay studying, they're in the lab studying, they're doing quantum physics, they're doing amazing things with mentors from faculty who publish together, believe it or not, as undergraduates. It's a very unique thing we're able to do. And then the last thing, I mentioned it previously, is our thesis. No student graduates from New College without a capstone project, and typically it's a written thesis, and it takes a full year to do it. It's a big part of the senior year, and our students come in terrified of it as 18-year-old first-year freshmen. By the time they leave here as a senior, it is a joy to do that research. They approach that presentation to defend it with a great amount of confidence and the ability to go on in life and do amazing things. So I hope all of you consider, all of our participants consider New College as you go forward. This beautiful campus could be yours. It will be more beautiful by the time you get here, and even more so when you finish. And those of you who want a taste of it, sophomores, juniors, rising sophomores and juniors, we have a summer camp. We call it our Summer Scholars Program, where you can apply online. It's a full week scholarship to New College. There are 11 disciplines. You get to study with our faculty members during the day, enjoy our cafeteria food, our dorms to live in at night, and have a full week of college at our expense to expose you to what we're doing here. So I hope all of you will go home and apply and look at that tonight. So it's a great opportunity, a great honor for me to introduce a friend who is truly a warrior in this movement of higher ed. He's been with Richard Corcoran for a long time, but now he's the man. Our Commissioner of Education, Stasi Kamutsa. Stasi, please come up. Thank you. And thank you all very much.
You know, David said it was only going to be 2 minutes. I timed it. It went a little over 2 minutes, David, but we won't charge you for that. Thank you for that speech. Thank you, President Corcoran, and the entire staff at New College of Florida, Kevin Heft, Katrina Heft. I see so many of you that I recognize out there in the crowd. Thank you, thank you, thank you for graciously hosting us for this very important occasion. It is truly inspiring to see the best of civics and debate students from across the state, students who have worked so hard and have had the opportunity today to showcase their talent, their knowledge, and their commitment to speech and debate. Today's championship truly represents the very best of what education should do. It should advance a student's academic excellence opportunities, to do it in a meaningful way, because we know that we need that to be able to defend this constitutional republic that we live in. Debate requires preparation. It requires research, critical thinking, and the ability to respectfully engage in different perspectives. These are not just academic skills, they are the foundation of responsible citizenship. Watching these students compete reminds us that the future of our country will be shaped by young people who are demonstrating what civic engagement and civil discourse means. Under the leadership of Governor DeSantis and the Florida legislature, who I know we have here today, Representative Kennedy, a champion for education. This is not the only event she comes to. I see her travel across the state to support students and encourage them in these different competitions, whether it's civics and debate, whether it's STEM, because she believes, I believe, this governor believes in you all and the future of this country. And so the Florida Civics and Debate Initiative has grown into one of the most exciting and impactful civics programs in the entire country. What began as just a handful of teams at just 11 school districts now has evolved into more than 330 teams and all 67 school districts in the state, and it has grown into a national prominent competition. This year alone, students have competed in hundreds of tournaments from across the state, sharpening the skills and deepening their understanding of American government and civic responsibility. Programs like this prove that when we invest in civics education, students rise to the occasion. And Florida is proud to lead the nation in civics education. We have implemented strong civics standards. We've expanded civic literacy, learning how to discuss ideas, to challenge arguments, and engage in respectful dialogue with others. Debate competitions like this bring those lessons to life in a very powerful, personal way. I want to take a moment to thank the Florida Civics and Debate Initiative, as well as the staff over at the Florida Debate Initiative for their hard work in putting this competition together. Today, we will recognize winners of the 11 speech and debate categories, which includes the Ronald Reagan presidential debate. These students have demonstrated an extraordinary level of preparation, of poise, and intellectual rigor. And this year's debate holds special significance. Following the murder of Charlie Kirk, Governor DeSantis announced that the winner of the Ronald Reagan debate would receive a special award in Charlie Kirk's honor. Thanks to the generosity of Patricia Duggan, the champion of the Ronald Reagan presidential debate will receive a $50,000 scholarship and a trophy in honor of Charlie Kirk. Thank you. The runner-up will receive a $25,000 scholarship, semifinalists will receive $15,000 scholarships, and quarterfinalists will receive $10,000 in scholarships. These awards, yeah. These awards not only recognize academic excellence, but the significance of meaningful civic debate. Over the course of the state championship, I have seen incredible skills on display. To every student who competed in this year's state championship, you should be incredibly proud of your hard work. Whether you leave today with a trophy or not, a scholarship or not, or simply the experience of competing at the highest level in our state, the skills that you have developed here today serve you for the rest of your lives. When students learn to debate ideas respectfully and thoughtfully, they become leaders, they become policymakers, legislators, and engaged citizens of tomorrow. Congratulations to all of the competition, to the competitors, and thank you so much for representing the future of Florida with excellence. God bless you all. And now I have the great honor of introducing my friend, Richard Schroeder, who is running the Ronald Reagan Foundation, and he has been pivotal in making sure that this is not just a rigorous speech and debate program, but one that is far-reaching, one that is appealing to students and enticing them to come participate. And so thank you, Richard, for being here, and I invite you up to the stage now.
Greetings. It's a great honor to be here from California. The Ronald Reagan presidential debate was debuted here last year on this very site. And I remember everybody in the audience being a little puzzled, not knowing exactly what to expect. As I said when I was at Florida International University a few months ago to dedicate a Ronald Reagan statue, your participation just shows me that Ronald Reagan is alive and well in Florida. And perhaps no state in the country represents his policies and his beliefs more than the state. So I'm here to introduce the Ronald Reagan, thank you. I'm here to introduce the Ronald Reagan debate competition. For those in the audience who didn't compete today, I'll give you a snippet of what to expect on stage. I'll also mention the winner today of the Ronald Reagan debate competition competes in the national finals in July in California against students from all over the country. And the runner-up wins a trip to California to come to our Great American Leadership Program, where they stay at Pepperdine overlooking the Pacific Ocean in Malibu, California. Now, yes. With that said, it's no secret about my love for the state of Florida. I'm here probably once every other week. I come for these events because it's important to know and promote and advance Ronald Reagan's legacy. So if you didn't compete today, I encourage you to think about competing next year. And if you did compete today, there's a digital national competition the first weekend of June, and you're all eligible to sign up. And the winner of that will also compete in national finals. So I'm here to introduce a little bit about Ronald Reagan debate. If you know about Ronald Reagan, he was known as the great communicator. What does that mean exactly? Well, he perfected the art of telling information through stories, using one-syllable words instead of two, ensuring that his audience knew what he was talking about in plain, simple Midwestern language. And when you compare our debate style to some other debate styles around the country where it's information, 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 we encourage students to tell stories. Maybe even a joke that doesn't offend the audience or their opponent, but about themselves. To honor the opposing point of view and remain friends. I'm always amazed that at this debate in the competition in California when the finalists competing for scholarships remain friendly afterwards, whether from Arkansas or Florida, Alaska or Hawaii, California or South Dakota, doesn't matter. So today, we'll go through the following rounds here on stage. Affirmative opening, negative opening, crossfire, affirmative rebuttal, negative rebuttal, moderator questioning, affirmative closing, negative closing, and each contestant has 2 minutes of prep time, meaning they get to prepare their arguments if they need to. The resolution is as follows. Resolved, as the United States celebrates its 250th anniversary of self-governance, the Electoral College should be replaced by the popular vote in presidential elections. The affirmative will be to my right. The negative will be here. When we talk about this debate, we'll go through these categories with the judges paying close attention. And you already heard some of the names of our VIP judges today, but I'll introduce them again. Our Commissioner of Education, Kamutsis. Our new College of Florida VP, David Rancourt. Our Senior Chancellor of the DOE, Paul Burns. And of course, our John F. Kennedy Center Performing Arts Board member and generous donor, Trish Duggan. A round of applause. Well, that said, I'll call up our finalists to introduce themselves. I learned long ago that instead of me saying a lot of words about students, it's better to have them come up, say who they are, where they're from, and what they loved about debating Ronald Reagan style this week. So I have two names, Gavin and Harrison. Come to the stage, please. Congratulations. Congratulations. Gavin, you want to introduce yourself first?
My name's Gavin Purvis. I'm from Ponce de Leon, and I've enjoyed debating with the Ronald Reagan style because it really teaches just how you can talk to a normal American, how you're so one-on-one and everybody's the same, and it puts everybody on the same personal level. And it kind of shows you how exactly people think alike, and not everyone's different because of our political views and what we believe. It shows that we're all the same, and we can all agree and talk on a personal level.
My name is Harrison Shirey. I'm from Tampa, Florida. And I love Ronald Reagan debate because it puts an emphasis on respect, just as my opponent just said. It really emphasizes the connection and the agreement more than the disagreement. But again, it's still competitive, and I love debate, so of course, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that, gentlemen. We're going to have Gavin argue the affirmative and Harrison argue the negative. And we'll start in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, everybody.
Right into the mic? Understood.
Can I take this off?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I can keep that one.
Test.
A little bit, if possible.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to start. Your attention, please, to the stage.
Yeah, that works.
To our left, affirm. To our right, negative. Gavin, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'll be able to start when all my judges are ready. Yes.
We are.
Harrison, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good evening, everyone. The main principle that Ronald Reagan believed in was that the people were the ultimate decision, that the people were the answer. Now, when the Founding Fathers were building the United States, they were trying to design something completely new. Not a government based on kings, not a government based on inherited powers, but a government based on the idea that the government gets its authority from the people. As Thomas Jefferson wrote, "The will of the majority is, in all cases, to prevail." That sounds pretty clear to me, until you meet the Electoral College, which is kind of like a system showing up to say, well, yes, but actually no. The Electoral College is how we choose our president in the United States. Instead of a national popular vote deciding the winner, each state gets a certain number of electoral votes, and those votes determine the outcome. In most elections, the winner of the popular vote and the Electoral College are the same, but not always. And when they aren't, it raises a serious question. Should someone become president even if the other candidate got the most amount of votes? This isn't just hypothetical. It has happened multiple times in American history. And when it does, millions of voters wake up the next day thinking, wait, I thought we were doing democracy. It's a little like if your class voted on where to go for a field trip, but then a fewly selected hall monitors got to decide instead. You voted, it just didn't really matter. Supporters of the Electoral College argue that it protects smaller states from being ignored, but in practice it often leads to the very opposite. Candidates almost focus entirely on a few swing states, and it often leads the rest of the country without a campaign stop at all. If you live in California, Texas, or New York, you might as well hear political ads and think, it's that time of year again, mute season. That's not exactly the vision James Madison described when he supported a government rooted in the people's authority. In Federalist number 39, he wrote that the government is founded on the power of the people. The key word there is people, not political strategy map drawn up in a campaign headquarters. And let's be honest for a second. If we were starting this system over today from scratch, no one would seriously propose the idea of an electoral college. It wouldn't survive a single meeting. Someone would say, okay, so the candidate with the most votes wins, right? Then someone else would jump in with, actually, no, we're going to divide the country into state groups, assign them points, and have those points decide instead. The entire room would go silent. And then someone would slowly say, so we're making democracy more complicated on purpose? Even Alexander Hamilton, who supported both the Constitution and the Electoral College, in Federalist number 68 saw it as a practical compromise for his time, not a permanent solution that can never be questioned. He believed that it would help ensure capable leadership, but he lived in a world long before modern media, national polling, and the political division that we see today. The bigger issue now is fairness. In a democracy, every vote is supposed to carry equal weight. One person, one vote. But under the Electoral College, that isn't always how it plays out. A vote in one state can end up having more influence on the presidency than a vote in another. And that means two Americans participate in the same election but don't have the same impact. That's not just a technical issue. It affects how people feel about voting at all. If someone believes that their vote doesn't matter, they're less likely to show up at all. And in a democracy, it only works if everyone participates. As of April 14th, 2026, 18 states have now joined the National Popular Vote Compact, a compact built to push for the national popular vote to replace the Electoral College. And within that also lies the District of Columbia, or Washington, D.C., the very own United States Capitol, pushing for the popular vote. Abraham Lincoln captured the idea of democracy at Gettysburg when he described a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Notice what he didn't say. Government of the states, by the states, for the states. He centered it around the people, the voters, the citizens, the individuals whose voices are supposed to shape the nation. So the question is simple. Are we living up to that promise? At the end of the day, this isn't about political parties. This isn't about Republicans or Democrats or who benefits or who loses. It's about whether the system still reflects the will of the American people as a whole. And if it doesn't, should we be willing to ask a difficult but necessary decision? Why are we still using it in this form? The founders built a system to evolve. They didn't expect perfection. They expected improvement. They gave us a framework, not a frozen rule book. So maybe the most patriotic thing we can do isn't just defending tradition for its own sake. It's making sure the system still works the way it was intended to, for the people. Because in a country built on we the people shouldn't just be a part of that process. They should be the final decision, the final outcome, the final voice in everything. Thank you.
There is an old principle that Ronald Reagan understood deeply. Before you tear something down, you better be absolutely sure you know what's going to replace it. The affirmative asks you today to dismantle an institution that has guided the most successful democracy in human history through 250 years, a quarter of a millennium of crises, wars, depressions, and political upheaval. They ask you to replace it with a system that has never been tested on the national scale, carries enormous structural risk, and would fundamentally alter the relationship between the states and the federal government. That is not reform, that is an experiment, and the American presidency is not a laboratory. Benjamin Franklin was asked, upon leaving the Constitutional Convention, what kind of government had he created? His answer, a republic, if you can keep it. Not a democracy, a republic, and the difference matters enormously. A pure democracy says that the majority rules, always, completely, and without restraint. A republic says that the majority rules within a framework of law, of order, and of structure, and protection for those who are not in the majority. The Electoral College is a part of that framework. It ensures that a presidential candidate must build a coalition broad enough to govern a continental nation, not simply run up the score in the most densely populated zip codes. I want you to think about a rancher in rural Montana. His concerns include water rights, grazing land, land use, commodity prices, and the federal regulations that govern his way of life. Under the Electoral College, Montana's electoral votes are small, but they are their own, and candidates must at least consider them and the states around that rancher when running for president. Now, I'd like to focus on what the core of the United States is, a union of states. We are not simply a collection of individuals scattered across a continent, but instead, we are a set of communities divided into subsections, each one deserving of its voice in Washington, D.C. The Electoral College was set up to reflect that exact reality by ensuring each community receives proper representation. My first contention today is that the Electoral College ensures that 60 million Americans are not ignored due to their geography when choosing their president. Now, let me paint you a picture. If we were to use a popular vote system, urban communities would be political Goliaths in compared to rural ones, and decisions and policies would be made whilst ignoring the heart of our country. These dangers are precisely avoided by the implementation of the Electoral College. In a popular vote scenario, voters residing in areas with a clear majority will easily overpower and nullify the voices of smaller factions or minority views, leading to a political environment where only majority opinions are viable. Does that sound like America? Furthermore, as any great leader or decision maker should do, we should look to history as a guide for the future. For 250 years, the United States has stood strong on the principles of freedom and democracy. In fact, we hold the record for the oldest national charter of government in the world. And that feat is not a coincidence, but a reflection of the restraint in the change of government. It is important to recognize that even in a changing world, the Founding Fathers have proven their system to be effective time and time again. The Electoral College provides a clear stability and equality that in recent years has been eroded across the world. I believe Ronald Reagan said it best himself in 1967, quote, "No permanent structure of government ever encroaches on the people's freedom." In summary, the Electoral College remains a fundamental system, a cornerstone to fair representation, and the push to abolish such representation presents far too many dangers, including a sense of mob rule and urban elitism. In contrast, the Electoral College offers stability and assurance in the elections, as well as enabling the voices of Americans living in rural or smaller communities. No implementation of the popular vote would perform these tasks in the slightest. And therefore, the choice is clear. The Electoral College should not be replaced. Thank you.
Now we have 3 minutes of crossfire. Who will go first?
You want me to ask first? All right. You ready?
Yep. Go.
You had a wonderful speech, and you brought up great points, but I really want to ask you and focus on one thing. You talked about how mostly it focuses on the states and the people within it. I want to ask you about, in 2024, the 6 million conservative voters in California who were essentially ignored because of the winner-take-all rule. How do you explain or back up a very system that basically discards millions of votes every year or every election.
Right. I back the Electoral College because it reflects what America is. We are not, again, scattered people across the continent. We are divided into our states, and each state has its own issues, its own problems, and its own morals. And essentially, the Electoral College divides us so that we are able to share these and have our communities share these values while still remaining together. So yes, of course, in California, there are Democrats that aren't represented fully when, there are Republicans that aren't represented fully when all of California's electoral votes go to blue. But at the end of the day, the people are still voting, and of course, California is going to be blue if the majority of the people there are blue. And so I think that's just a reflection of the state itself, not the Electoral College.
Do you have a question?
I do, actually. So you mentioned there's a big problem with swing states and how I think you mentioned there's a lot of attention put on them in elections,
Yes.
which is fair. Now, how many swing states have been recognized since the 1960s?
Quite a few. I can name you a few. Most recently would have been Georgia and Pennsylvania are like the top two that most people focus on when it comes to elections.
Right, the answer is, I believe, 34. So the majority of states in this union have been swing states at one point, and the argument that swing states are given too much attention is somewhat nullified by the fact that swing states change over time. Florida itself used to be a swing state. I would argue we are not anymore. And so this idea that campaigns will only put their attention to a few states consistently is just simply false.
Well, that's exactly, I think, when I get the questions you're saying is like it adapts over time. And yes, it does adapt over time, but I also want us as citizens to realize that just because it adapts doesn't mean it's just switching from one state to another. The swing states still exist, and they're still targeted. No matter if one election it's Georgia and the next election it's Florida, they're still targeted every election. Now, I have one more. Do we have enough time for a question?
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, I have a question before you. You talked about Montana. You mentioned Montana in your speech about how they're represented with 3 electoral votes. Did you know that their population, actually, you need 720,000 in order to get 3 electoral votes? They're underrepresented, I believe, because their people aren't represented the way they may have 3 electoral votes, but think about those 100,000 electoral normal votes that just essentially aren't being counted because of. I kind of relay back to the California question of you're really supporting a system that backs discarding votes every election. So how would you solve this?
Right. In terms of Montana, Montana has a very small population. If we look at, for example, LA County has a larger population than, I believe, the entire state of Wyoming, Montana, a lot of these like western states. The Electoral College ensures that they have a minimum amount of representation, whereas the popular vote, all of these states would easily be overpowered by large cities and largely populated states. So I believe the Electoral College does a great job because it gives Montana a minimum. They know every election they're going to have at least 3 electoral votes to represent them.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
Now we'll have 4 minutes for each rebuttal. Affirmative goes first.
My judges ready? Every judge? Opponent, you ready?
Sir.
There you go. Ronald Reagan. My opponent brought up the fact that Ronald Reagan had supported the Electoral College. Maybe that's true, but Ronald Reagan's main objective was the people, making sure that their voice is heard in every aspect of the government, no matter if it was the Electoral College, a local government, or state government, or a federal government. The people run the government. So I want to move into some of my opponent's contentions. He talked about the majority rule being shifted to the states, or being in the states now, and then they would just be shifted to the cities. But I want to talk about something. Statistic shows that the 100 biggest cities in America, population put together, only makes up 64 million people, 19.46% of the population, which still leaves 80.54% of the population left to vote. They may be big cities, but they can't outvote all of America. I also want to bring up the point that my opponent couldn't answer in Crossfire. The election results in heavy blue or heavy red states, otherwise known as safe states. According to information from the American Presidency Project, in California in 2024 election, 38% voted Republican, while 58% voted Democrat. They have a population of 39 million. They had 16 million voters. 6 million conservative, essentially ignored. In Texas, they had 57% Republican, 43% Democrat. They have a population of 30 million people. They had 11 million voters, 4 million Democrat, essentially ignored. the population of America, 335 million. 180 million didn't vote in this last election. 155 did. Think about this. Throughout the states, the negation supports the Electoral College that very much disrepresents every vote. It throws millions of votes in every state out every year, and we can no longer accept this. My opponent also brought up the smaller states being represented when they're not represented at all. Sure, the Electoral College gives them very few electoral votes, but compared to Florida, they're nothing. The population of those states truly show the needs of what they actually want in their states. My opponent also fails to recognize the swing states idea, makes the contention that they adapt over time. Sure, they may adapt, but at the same time, they are still existent. Every election, presidents attack the swing states first, leaving essentially the rest of the country ignored. I'm sure conservatives in California and Democrats in Texas have just as many needs as the not sure's voters in Georgia. We have to switch to the national popular vote. Another statistic is 61 to 63% of American adults as of the 2024 election support abolishing the Electoral College and replacing it with the national popular vote. My opponent could agree with me, I feel, that the people are the most important within our constitutional republic. But the Electoral College has diminished that over time. We have looked at it and we have seen it every election. My opponent also wanted to bring up history and how history reflects that the Electoral College has done nothing but good. The Electoral College was first used in 1789, and it took 35 years in 1824, the very first election that was messed up between the Electoral College and the national popular vote. The Electoral College couldn't make it 50 years before messing up the very first election. And we have to realize that. The Electoral College is outdated. It hasn't adapted with our time. It's had 250 years to adapt with us. But it has not done that. It's misrepresenting the people now. The people of America who want their votes back but don't even care about going to vote anymore because the Electoral College has a process that will not essentially even take their vote. So I ask you as American citizens, do you want your vote counted or do you want your vote ignored consistently through every election? Thank you.
I was once told a story about a town meeting out in the countryside. Now, this town had a big decision to make, how to spend their budget for the year. On one side of town, you had a bustling downtown, lots of people, lots of businesses, lots of noise. On the other hand, you had the farmers spread out across miles of land, quieter, fewer in number, but just as important in keeping the town running. So they took a vote, and wouldn't you know it, the downtown crowd had the numbers. They decided every dollar would go to streetlights, sidewalks, and storefronts. The farmers? Well, they didn't get their roads repaired. Their irrigation systems broke down, and before long, the town realized something. They had listened to the loudest voices, but not the whole community. And I think that story says something about where we are today. The Electoral College was designed so that when we choose a president, we don't just count heads. We make sure we're hearing from every corner of the country, big cities, small towns, and everywhere in between. Because America is not just one big crowd. It's a union of communities. And if we forget that, we may wake up one day having chosen leaders who won the vote, but lost the country. Now, I'd like to point out a good point made by my opponent. He said some outcomes don't match the popular vote when the Electoral College is counted up. And he's right. In American history, there have been 5 times when the national popular vote did not match the Electoral College. 5 times. What he failed to mention was that 3 of these happened before the year 1900, when the country was still pretty volatile. Furthermore, 5 elections out of, I believe, 60 now, that's about a 93% success rate. Is my opponent willing to stand here and say that we need to abolish a fundamental system of our government for a 92% success rate? I don't think so, and the American people don't think so. Again, my opponent likes to focus on swing states. He mentions their influence in the elections, and he's right. Again, I'd like to tell you, 34 states have been swing states since the 1960s. Swing states are constantly adapting. Different people are receiving attention each election. And it doesn't compare to the amount of influence, the enormous amount of influence that cities bring in a national popular vote system. Yes, cities make up 65 million Americans, approximately. However, that is still more than rural Americans, and if you go by a state-by-state basis, they're still the majority of each state, almost. My opponent also liked to mention in his opening that voter turnout is decreased thanks to the Electoral College, that people feel like their votes don't matter. I'd like to respond by saying the election of 2024 had the largest turnout of any election in American history. The Electoral College works, and the American people are happy to cast their vote for their president. Furthermore, I'd like to let everyone know, in the founding of our country, 4 other proposals were made on how we were going to elect our president. 4 other processes. And the founding fathers, in all their wisdom, still chose the Electoral College. Now, why might they have done this? Well, the answer is pretty simple. They knew what the Electoral College represented. They knew it was fundamental to ensuring every state was represented by the president. Not just each city, each state was represented. They made sure that smaller states wouldn't get overshadowed by the big ones, at the time, Virginia and New York. And I'd like to think the fathers knew what they were doing. Furthermore, I'd like to point out the Electoral College is enshrined in our Constitution. In Article 2, Section 1, the founding fathers took special care to ensure that the Electoral College would not be replaced. They then followed up with the 12th Amendment, altering the Electoral College to make it even more representative of the people and further enshrining it in our national charter. I asked my opponent today, does he really believe the founders in all their wisdom were so clearly wrong and wrong enough that we should today replace a system that has guided our nation for 250 years? The answer is no, we should not. Thank you.
And now we have moderator questioning. So judges, hopefully you have your questions prepared. We'll start at the far right-hand side of our table.
Harrison, what do you see as the biggest barrier to having things stay the way they have been?
I suppose this is a barrier, but it could also be interpreted as a strength. I think the biggest barrier for keeping our systems are that the world changes. Again, the world has changed since 1787, right? We have faster communication. People are able to reach millions of other people in just a matter of seconds through social media. And so, I mean, it's good to reevaluate our systems. It's good to look at our government and say, how can we adapt to the modern world? But the question of the Electoral College is, the Electoral College has gotten us here. The Electoral College has been a stable and an assurance in all of our history. And we see no need to replace it with a popular vote, which has never been tested before on the national scale.
Thank you.
Gavin, what is your opponent's greatest argument and why?
His greatest argument, I believe the greatest argument about the Electoral College is that it's been around for 250 years. It's a system that's been designed since the beginning of our country. But at the same time, that's also very refutable by my side, because I can tell you the fact that he just addressed the same thing, that the world changes, the world evolves. But yet the Electoral College hasn't evolved with it since the 17 and 1800s. Since that first election where it went wrong, the Electoral College hasn't changed since. It's true, it was made for a different time, the 18th century, where voters weren't informed. Information traveled really slowly, but now our voters are more informed than ever. Now information travels instantly. It's true, it made sense in a different time, but our world's adapting too fast, and it can't follow, and it hasn't followed for the time that it's had.
If allowed, you both can answer this. I'm going to ask you to consider something, give you 3 or 4 thoughts, and pick, please, the one that you want to talk about, but also the one that you think amplifies your argument or discredits your opponent's argument. Think about constitutional construction. Are we a democracy or are we a republic? And as you think about democracy and republic and have considered the Electoral College, consider universal suffrage, where we began and where we are now, the initial appointment of senators versus the election of senators today, and how, if we want to change the Electoral Congress, should we consider changing one half of of our government, the legislative piece, by making Senate seats representative of population as well, and the people directly versus the states, and how those weights go in. You first, sir.
I believe that we don't have to do that for the senators because, as we all know, the House of Representatives already match the population within the states. The senators are a stable thing that is 2 per state. So the House of Representatives already represent the population, so we already have that in place. But I think that we're a republic and a democracy. They both represent one thing, which is the people, which is what we have failed to do with the Electoral College. The Electoral College, I believe, takes the power away from the people, as we've seen and as I've given examples today of states of 6 million in California and 4 million in Texas essentially ignored because of rules that they made of winner take all. Because the states have to be decided quickly, and ultimately I believe that this is starting to take power away from the people, and the people are starting to realize it, and the Electoral College doesn't like it because it's so behind now that it hasn't adapted with our time. But I think the people are realizing that their power needs to be stronger than ever, and they want it back from what the government took.
I'd like to point out my opponent made a great point. He did say we are both a republic and a democracy, but I'd like to make a more concrete decision. We are a republic. We are a constitutional republic at that. And that doesn't mean we allow chaos and the mob rule in our country. That means we allow representation based on, for every citizen, representation based on your community, right? And so, yes, I believe both aspects of democracy and the republic are important. We need to have the people represented. We can't let them be filtered down over and over through representatives, but they need to be represented by people who will represent their community, right? If we were to allow everyone to make a vote, like each person make a vote and not have the Electoral College, popular vote, we would see a lot of problems. First off, with the changing times, with social media, there's a lot of disinformation out there, misinformation. And one of the ways we put a check on that is by having less people make the final decision. We have our representatives represent their communities in the Electoral College so that Americans aren't worried about mob rule, about constant change, about these problems and these threats that emerge. So thank you.
So my question is for Harrison. Harrison, you mentioned that the Founding Fathers had other processes that they considered. Are you saying that even if there was a better alternative, that we shouldn't consider it?
No, I'm saying the Founding Fathers had many, many options on how we were going to elect our president, and they saw through all that smoke, including the popular vote as an option, and they still chose the Electoral College. They made a very clear decision by putting it in Article 2, Section 1 of our Constitution. Before any mention of the Supreme Court, before any mention of all these other components of our government, they knew the Electoral College was the *1 way to elect our president as equally and fairly as possible.
Gavin, I'll ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Hypothetically, there's an election in November, then between the election and the inauguration, the candidate-elect is accused of murder. Mm-hmm. What happens then with...
If it's a national popular vote, it would still fall under the same process that it does today. It would go straight to the vice president. They would take office. And we're not asking to change anything that within the system after. We're asking to change the system of the Electoral College where it doesn't fairly represent the people. And for years it hasn't. But this would still all remain the same of if, say we have a situation like that, the vice president would take office, the Speaker of the House, and so on and so forth. But we're arguing for the abolishment and the replacement of the Electoral College.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, each debater has a closing statement of 3 minutes. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. My
Affirmative
judge is
goes
ready.
First.
Judge. Okay, here we go. I want you to all think about something. Maybe when you were growing up, but this is personally me. Me and my friends, we got our football taken away at recess, obviously because we're boys. We like to play rough. But we found a basketball, and everybody had a vote if we wanted to make that the new football or go play basketball. And ultimately, everybody voted for football. But I want you to think about something. Everyone voted. Everyone's vote mattered, and it ultimately made the right decision. We had the best time playing that game day after day. We the people. The 3 most important words in American history. This government was built on the fact that the people give the government its authority, not the other way around. And for 250 years, the people have taken the authority from the Electoral College. I want to bring up something that my opponent has failed to bring even a solution for. The millions of votes casted out every election because we have a system that has a winner-take-all. We have to think about this. We claim to be a republic that represents the people, but the very people that we claim to support are the ones that we're not allowing their votes to even matter. I'm asking you as a citizen, not as a debater, not as trying to convince you, but as a citizen, do you believe your vote should count? Because if you do, then you would support the very thing that Ronald Reagan did. The people give the power to the government. Charlie Kirk himself said, if you eliminate me, people with louder voices will rise. And that's exactly what has happened in the most recent years. We have seen people rise from 60 to 63% of adult Americans wanting the replacement of the Electoral College. I'm not asking you again as a debater or as standing on the stage, but as a citizen myself, would you want your vote to count or not? Because there are millions of Republicans in California and millions of Democrats in Texas who every year don't get their vote counted. And I want to bring up one last thing that my opponent argues, that the Democrats and the Republicans are still represented. They're not represented. They are constantly ignored. My opponent also brought up the fact that in 2024 we had the highest voter turnout ever. You're telling me we had 155 million people vote, 180 million not, and that's the highest turnout? We had more less and not vote than people who actually voted at all. Think about that. The American people have taken it for long enough. The people are realizing it, and the states are even realizing it, making compacts themselves to try to replace the Electoral College. So again, for one final time, I'm asking you as a citizen to think about something. Should your vote count the same as everyone else's? This is exactly what the national popular vote emphasizes. This is what the Founding Fathers wanted. They willed the Electoral College system in a time where information was hard to get around. But now we have information instantly. And the national popular vote gives the people their voices back to exactly what we were before. A republic with the voices of the people and the idea that the government gets its authority from the people. So let's become America again. Thank you.
I'd first like to point out that America is not a classroom. We are one of the largest countries on earth. We have nearly every different type of geography in the world, and we have thousands upon thousands of communities. Again, these communities are each represented in the Electoral College, and they ought to be. I'd also like to point out that my opponent eloquently said that the Founding Fathers intended for a popular vote, but then when given the option, why did they choose the Electoral College? Again, I couldn't disagree with that statement more. Ladies and gentlemen, this debate is not about convenience. It's not about modern preference or political fashion. It is about something far more serious, the structure of American liberty itself. As Ronald Reagan often reminded us in his defense of constitutional government, freedom is never preserved by impulse, it is preserved by restraint. And that is exactly what the Electoral College represents: restraint, balance, and protection against the tyranny of the majority. We began this debate with a simple truth, that the United States is not a pure democracy, it is a republic, a union of states carefully designed so that no single faction, no matter how large, can dominate the rest. That principle is not accidental, it is foundational. My opponent asks you to abandon that foundation in the name of simplicity, but simplicity is not always justice. I have shown you three clear truths. First, the Electoral College ensures that America remains a union of all its parts, not just its largest cities. Without it, the voices of rural Americans and rural communities, over 60 million people, risk being drowned out by the concentrated population centers. The government would no longer reflect the diversity of geography, industry, and culture that defines this nation. It would become ruled by density, not representation. Second, we must confront the danger of the tyranny of the majority. In a popular vote system, candidates would have every incentive to focus exclusively on population centers, ignoring entire regions of the country. Minority viewpoints, already fragile in national politics, would be further weakened. The Electoral College exists precisely to avoid that outcome. It forces coalition building across states, not just accumulation of votes in a few urban hubs. Third, history itself warns us against reckless structural change. For over 250 years, the United States has maintained a constitutional system that has proven remarkably stable compared to the rest of the world. That stability is not luck, it is design. And the Electoral College is part of that design. As Reagan once warned, we must be very, very careful not to confuse change with progress. Yes, No system is perfect. But the question before us is not whether the Electoral College is flawless. It is whether replacing it would strengthen or weaken the American experiment. And the evidence is clear. Removing it would concentrate power, weaken geographic representation, and destabilize the carefully balanced system our fathers built to protect liberty. So let us be clear. We are not defending a flaw. We are defending a safeguard. My opponent trusts the mob. I trust the Constitution. And as I leave you today, I urge you to remember that this nation is unified and strong together. We are a mix of both red and blue. Let us not forget that as we celebrate our 250th birthday. Thank you.
Thank you, Harrison and Gavin. Another big round of applause for them one more time. Nice job.
Great job. Great job. Honorable judges, would you like 3 minutes to deliberate? Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, behind every Harrison and behind every Gavin, there are parents that are all in for their kids. So I'm going to ask the parents of Harrison to please rise. Where are you at? Parents of Harrison. Congratulations. Congratulations, Mom. And behind every all-in parent for education, there's an all-in educator teacher. I'm going to ask for Harrison's coach to please stand. Congratulations, Coach. Thank you. Where's Gavin's parents or guardians? Gavin. Everybody give it up for Mom there. And everybody give it up for Gavin's all-in educator, his teacher and coach right beside him. You may be seated. Thank you so much. In the great state of Florida, we are so blessed that we have educators that are all in, dedicated, committed, in lockstep for preparing tomorrow's great citizens today. We cannot do this without our amazing teachers and educators that are all in for civics education. So if you know a teacher around you, help me give a warm applause for that teacher and coach. So at this time, I'm going to ask for our great commissioner to join me on stage, and I'm going to ask for Ms. Trish Duggan to join me on stage. And as they walk forward, ladies and gentlemen, I have you know that there is no other state in the great union of these United States of America that has a speech and a debate program as great and as large and as all-in invested by the Florida legislature, the Florida governor, our Department of Education, as the Florida Civics and Debate Initiative and the state of Florida. We cannot do this without an all-in commissioner. So we're grateful, Commissioner Camusis, everybody. And these scholarships, these checks that represent these life-changing, transformative scholarships would not be possible for all-in supporters of civics education, investors that believe in investing in tomorrow's leaders today. Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to do me a favor and show the respect that is due to someone who is investing and is about to transform the lives of these students? Let's all rise to give Ms. Trish Duggan a warm round of applause for being a life changer, a world changer, investing in Florida's leaders today. Thank you, Ms. Duggan. We can't do this without you. we're going to announce the runner-up. Runner-up. We're going to ask Harrison to please join us on the stage. Winner of the first annual Ronald Reagan presidential debate for $25,000. Florida, you can do better than that. He just won $25,000. Congratulations. Thank you. Don't forget your check. Yeah, you can grab it. Right there. Thank you so much. Everybody, all rise for the first place winner of the inaugural Ronald Reagan presidential debate, our state champion, Gavin. Thank you. You may exit this way. And ladies and gentlemen, our great Commissioner Kamoutsas.
Well, please be seated. What an amazing, amazing competition. Let's give it out for the competitors one more time. I know it's so incredibly emotional to see the parents and the coaches so invested and the students, how proud they are of their hard work. It truly is a testament of the impact of civic debate and dialogue and hard work and preparation being manifested in this process that unfolds here at the competition statewide. So absolute honor and blessing to be here. Again, I want to thank Trish, and I want to introduce her for her generous donation to make a difference in the lives of these students and to create greater incentives for more students to participate in next year's debate, because this process is so monumental for these children and these students to be able to develop these lifelong skills. And so, Trish, thank you so much for your investment in the state of Florida and our future here in this country. Trish Duggan.
Thank you so much. And good afternoon to each of you who's here listening to this and interested in our youth and the future of our country. It's truly an honor to be here today with so many talented students, educators, and leaders who care deeply about the future of our country. I want to thank Governor DeSantis, one of my favorite Americans ever. He's been incredibly inspirational and has the highest level of interest in civics. But what is civics? Civics is the study of the rights and duties of citizens. And guess what? A citizen is a legally recognized person of a country. And what are the rights and duties of American citizens? U.S. citizenship grants individuals the right to vote, the right to run for public office, the right to have a passport, the right to receive various government benefits, the right to receive various government protections. But here are some of the duties of the U.S. citizen. To be informed. Now, how do you get informed? Are these kids that are doing debate, are they really getting themselves informed? It's very impressive to me. To vote, to serve in military if needed, and to pay taxes. And by the way, a lot of Americans don't even know the definition of the word liberty. Liberty is actually freedom from government oppression. So I'd like to also thank Vice President Rancourt and Commissioner Camustas for their commitment to civics and debate for strengthening civics education across Florida. And I also want to thank the Florida Civics and Debate Initiative for hosting this incredible championship. It's inspiring to see the students from across the state come together and engage in thoughtful debate and meaningful discussion about the issues that shape our nation today. Debate teaches students how to think critically, communicate their ideas clearly, and how to respectfully engage with others who have differing perspectives. I'm honored to have been able to support students as they gain these valuable skills while participating in this year's championship. So proud of these two. Why did I donate to this for the next 10 years? Thank you. One, to encourage students to learn how to communicate with words and not bullets. Let's create a new, thank you. Let's create a new paradigm of peaceful dialogue and negotiations. Let's move out of the idea of killing bodies and creating wars where investors make gigantic profits. Let's move from that whole paradigm. Number two, to help students gain the ability to research and present facts and listen to opposing facts without getting upset, but with an ability to intelligently respond. Charlie Kirk was brilliant at this. I also had the highest admiration for Charlie and told him he needed to go into high school campuses and then elementary schools and help teach the basic law of our land, the Constitution. We worked on it for a year, and it was handed to me 20 minutes after he'd been assassinated. I had asked him about 5 days before he was killed to audit his company and to do some investigations into where the money is actually going. I treated him as a son, and I lost my own son to a brain tumor in his 20s. In his PSATs, he ranked in the top 1/4%. It's called national merit. In the freestyle, he was a top swimmer in California, and I was his coach. He called me one day from the university, and he said, I got my first F. He was an A student, definitely. I said, they'll grade on the bell curve, and you'll be fine, and he did. He went to see his teacher, and the teacher, the professor, said, if you don't want to learn theory, you don't belong at the university. And he said, I want to learn business. And he said, I quit. He had read Ted Turner's biography of how he donated $1 billion to the United Nations and decided he wanted to donate to help the world. He passed away at age 26, and his business was valued at $70 million at the time. He encouraged me to adopt the night before he left. But who am I? I'm part of the American dream, and I want that opportunity for every single young person. My mom got pregnant when she was 16, and my dad joined the Navy at 17. My mom said if I studied hard, I could be part of the American dream. We had dinner at 5 every night, and at 5:30 we were studying at the table, 5 kids. My mom had dictionaries, so we didn't know if we didn't know what a word meant, she would look it up for us and tell us the definition. This, to me, is the most vital thing for students to learn, and why I'm so proud of them learning to debate, because they have to understand the words. It's always important to get the definition of the words so you can understand, because I've seen people, they go blank if they don't understand the definitions. To make a long story short, I talked my mom into finishing high school and night school. Then I signed her up for 2 city college classes, and she wouldn't get in the car. So I said, if you don't get in the car, I won't go to university. I'll stay home with you. I got her in the car. So I had 3 jobs when I was going to university, and I told my mom, keep going to college, and I'm going to pay for it somehow. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, but I'm going to pay for it. And long story short, she got 2 masters and a PhD, and she left each of her kids, 5 kids, $1 million when she passed away at age 94. But my mom helped me to become part of the American dream, too. And I received A's on all my papers in high school. My teachers would read my papers aloud to the class, and I always included the definition of whatever we were studying in the first paragraph. But on my first college paper, I got a D. It was the same university that my son went to, by the way. I went to the professor, and he said there was nothing wrong with my paper. It was my viewpoint. I majored in political science. I learned to get a good grade, I needed to spout back what the teacher said. No independent thinking, no creative thought. When my dad picked me up to take me back home for Christmas vacation, I told him what I was learning. He had to pull to the side of the freeway. He was so upset. He'd fought in World War II, had a bad feeling one night, pulled his mattress out on the deck, the ship was torpedoed and sunk, and he lost all of his friends that night. He was in his young 20s. He was in the water for 18 hours before he was rescued, and he couldn't believe the anti-American information I was learning from this liberal University of California. So my brothers and sisters all have higher degrees, but as you might imagine, I dropped out. They didn't have a college like this that I was aware of, so everybody's so lucky that this place exists on planet Earth. But I never stopped learning and doing my research, and my motto is nothing substitutes for positiveness. And even though I lost my son, I adopted 6 kids out of foster care when I was in my 50s. They were kids that nobody wanted. And I want this opportunity of the American dream to be there for every child that goes to this school, every teenager, every young adult, to have that view that they can reach the American dream no matter what kind of background they come from. So I led the celebration for the 200th anniversary of our Constitution for President Reagan when I lived in Santa Barbara, and he had what was called the Western White House in Santa Barbara. He's one of my favorite people that ever lived. When I learned that Florida would be awarding a scholarship and trophy in honor of Charlie Kirk to the winner of the Ronald Reagan debate, I knew I wanted to be part of this effort. I was one of Charlie's biggest supporters, and for many, many years, I gave him $500,000 a month. I'm grateful to be able to provide college scholarships to many deserving students. Through these scholarships, students will be able to create new opportunities for themselves, and my hope is that these scholarships will encourage each student to pursue dreams, develop talents, and make meaningful contributions to our communities and to our country. To every student who competed in this year's championships, I want to congratulate you. The preparation, discipline, and courage it takes to stand up and debate at this level is truly impressive. Regardless of today's results, each of you should be proud of the work you have done and the skills that you have developed. Let's create peace on planet Earth through communication skills you are practicing in debate. Programs like the Florida Civics and Debate Initiative remind us that the future of our country is in very capable hands. Thank each one of you for being here, and thank you for being you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, special thanks to Trish Duggan. You may be seated. We are going to present the remaining rewards, and for the person who has this great privilege and honor is a passionate educator. I heard him first speak at Puerto Rico Day in Tallahassee, debriefing many community leaders, and I knew instantly that there was a fire of zeal to ensure that our students in Florida are receiving the best education possible. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the Senior Chancellor of Education, Dr. Burns.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I heard from 12 of you out there. Let's try that again. Good afternoon, everyone. Very good. Thank you all for being here. My name is Paul Burns, and I have the pleasure of serving as Senior Chancellor at the Florida Department of Education. I can tell you that both of my parents started as young teachers, and so when I told my parents that I'd been given the position of Senior Chancellor, both my parents as former teachers asked me one question. You know what that was? They said, "What do you do?" Right? Because not everyone knows what a Senior Chancellor does. At the Department of Education, I have the chance to support our Commissioner of Education in helping impact the lives of over 2.9 million students across the state of Florida. I have the chance to be able to walk classrooms, see the great instruction that is happening, and so I'm grateful for what we're seeing in our classrooms. And being here this weekend, seeing the debate and the debate skills that our students have brought reminds me that we, not only as Florida, are in good hands, but we as a country are in good hands as well. And so this afternoon, I want to start by saying congratulations to all of our participants. Would you give all of our participants a big round of applause, please? Students, raise your hand. Where are you out there, students? Students, here's what I want you to do right quick before I get started. Your parents play such an important role in your life each and every day. They're the ones that ran to Walgreens at 9 and 10 o'clock when you forgot that poster board and you had that project due. So students, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. I want you to turn to your parents. I want you to tell them you love them, and I want you to say a big thank you. Students, would you please do that to your parents, please? Let's give our parents a big round of applause, please. So this afternoon, as we get started with our recognition, I do want to make sure that our recognition ceremony goes very smoothly this afternoon. And so students, what we're going to do this afternoon, just like we do in our other debates when we hand away awards, I want us to adhere to the one clap method. I know that you're familiar with that. And so what that means is this: as we recognize our award winners, please clap once after their name is called. And then when we announce the champion of each division, that's where we're gonna go crazy and give them a big standing ovation. So students, are you clear on what we're doing this afternoon? All right, good, love it. All right, now students, here's the next thing I want you to listen up for. Here's what you're going to do. All right, what I'm going to do is to tell you which students are going to come up to the stage first, all right? And then you're going to enter from your left-hand side as you're facing the stage. So that's my right-hand side, right? Raven over here. So students, you're gonna go to your left-hand side. You're gonna walk across the stage, get your award here from Mr. Lopez, and then you're going to make your way down the stage and then into College Hall behind you for photos. So students, I'm gonna call that first group. You're gonna make your way. At the same time, what I want you to do is you're gonna have to listen up, because at the same time I call that first group, I'm going to have our next group that's gonna be ready and waiting in the wings. You got it? All right, here we go. So first of all, thank you again for being here. I am excited to get this started. And so now, will all quarterfinalists and semifinalists in the high school Ronald Reagan presidential debate, will you please make your way to the stage? Please make your way to the stage. All our quarterfinalists, semifinalists in high school Ronald Reagan presidential debate. Yes, please give them a round of applause as they make their way to the stage. All right, now that we have those students there, would the finalists for our middle school Ronald Reagan presidential debate please make your way to the wings on the left-hand side of the stage? All right, students and families, here we go, starting with our quarterfinalists in high school Ronald Reagan presidential debate. Winning a $10,000 scholarship in 8th place from Bishop Kenny High School is Samantha Westerdale. All right, our second quarterfinalist in high school Ronald Reagan presidential debate, also winning a $10,000 scholarship in 7th place from FAU High School, is David Aratunyan. All right, another quarterfinalist taking home a $10,000 scholarship in 6th place is Luke DePercio. All right, and our last quarterfinalist in high school Ronald Reagan debate in 5th place and also receiving a $10,000 scholarship from School of Advanced Studies, Wolfson, is Daniel Yobe. All right, now we're going to be moving into our semifinalists in high school Ronald Reagan presidential debate. Our semifinalists receive a $15,000 scholarship. And in 4th place from Tokoi Creek High School is Sahidi Reddy. In 3rd place, from Trinity Preparatory School, is Nikhil Daniel. Perfect. Again, congratulations to you all. All right. And now, with the finalists in the middle school Ronald Reagan debate, would you please take the stage? And would the quarterfinalists in the high school public forum debate please make their way to the wing? Are we ready? All right. So we are at middle school Ronald Reagan presidential debate. And in the final round of the middle school Ronald Reagan presidential debate, in 2nd place from Campen Home School, we have Cooper Campen. And in 1st place from Julia Landon College Preparatory School, we have Adiyai Maru. Okay, for the remainder of the debate events, all quarterfinalists will be called to the stage. So, would the high school public forum debate quarterfinalists and above, and again that means all the quarterfinalists, the semifinalists, and the finalists, would you please take the stage? And while they're taking their places, could I please have our middle school public forum debate quarterfinalists and above please make your way to the wings? All right. So, in our high school public forum debate, are we ready back there, Ms. Lopez? We good? All right, perfect. In our high school public forum debate, in 8th place from Fort Walton Beach High School, we have Caden Bell and Alec Ward. All right, in 7th place from Palmetto Ridge High School, we have Julio Gonzalez and Esmeralda Sanchez. All right, in 6th place from Okeechobee High School, we have Skylar Grimsley and McKaylin Hatfield. All right, in 5th place from Crestview High School, we have Cameron Williams and Zachary Sharp. All right, in 4th place from Strawberry Crest High School, we have Ethan Tran and Adrian Lopez Torres. In 3rd place from Fort Pierce Central High School, we have Jesus Rivera Neves and Camila Salcedo Lind. And in second place, from the Bowles School, we have Sohan Patel and Matthew Shanan Khan. And in first place, from Allen D. Neese High School, we have Rachel Monsi and Chesley DeSoyo. All right, and now looks like our quarterfinalists and above, right? Middle School Public Forum, please come forward. Are they ready back there? They are ready, perfect. Now, before I call their name, I'd like our quarterfinalists and above in high school, Lincoln Douglas, please make your way to the wings. All right, celebrating Middle School Public Forum debate in 8th place. From Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences, we have Benjamin Strogoff and Adeline Tirna Leshko. In 7th place, from Oakview Middle School, we have Logan Marlowe and Quinn Baker. In 6th place, from Orlando Gifted Academy, we have Noah Banks and Grant McGinnis. They left. All right. Okay. In 5th place, from Julia Landon College Preparatory, we have Udinyan Ganglu and Yash Toll. No, not here. All right. In 4th place, from Lincoln Middle School in Gainesville, we have Ignacio Andres and Anisha James. In 3rd place, from Randall Middle School, we have Elena Redfield and Askara Kaur. In 2nd place, from Canapi Speech and Debate, we have Claire DeQuilla and Becca Hudson. And give it up for your first place winners. In first place, from Orlando Gifted Academy, we have August Macklin and Olivia McGee. All right. Now we're on to our quarterfinalists and above in high school Lincoln Douglas debate. And at the same time, can we have the quarterfinalists and above in middle school Lincoln Douglas? Please make your way to the wings. All right, let's get going on our high school Lincoln Douglas debate. In 8th place, from Sunshine Independent, we have Suri Vijiji Silveri. In 7th place, from Rickards High School, we have Nadia Nadikat. In 6th place, from Wikiwachi High School, we have Debbie Torres. In 5th place, from Okeechobee High School, we have Orlando Maso LaGuardia. In 4th place, from Trenton High School, we have Jimmy Lozada. In 3rd place, from Beachside High School, we have Trishay Miryala. In second place from Hours Academy, we have Mylan Hours. And give it up for first place winner from City of Hialeah Educational Academy, Camila Sanchez. And now we're about to announce our quarterfinalists and above in middle school Lincoln Douglas debate. And at the same time, will our quarterfinalists and above in high school extemporaneous debate, would you please make your way to the wings? All right, celebrating middle school Lincoln Douglas debate in 8th place. From Horizon Charter School of Tampa, we have Ananilis Alviero. In 7th place, from Public Speaking Academy, we have Sarithna Lanka. Accepting on her behalf is probably mom. Coach. Accepting on behalf is coach. All right, in 6th place, from Public Speaking Academy, we have Sonia Doma. In 5th place, from Public Speaking Academy, we have Gia Amin. In 4th place, from Florida Virtual School Flex Program, we have Zariah Watson. In 3rd place, from Julia Landon College Preparatory School, we have Anusha Bara. In 2nd place, from Pembroke Pines Charter Middle School West, we have Corey Brown. And in 1st place, from Public Speaking Academy, we have Kirthana Ramkumar. And now we're about to announce the quarterfinalists and above in high school extemporaneous debate. But before they take the stage, will the quarterfinalists and above in middle school extemporaneous debate please make your way to the wings? And now kicking it off for us, in 8th place in high school extemporaneous debate, from Allen D. Neese High School, we have Rohan Snyder. And in 7th place, from GHS Speech and Debate Team, we have Anandi Mathura. In 6th place, from Pasco High School, we have Aiden Miller. In 5th place, from the Bowles School, we have David Lee. In 4th place, from Duncan U. Fletcher High School, give it up for Emma Johnson. In 3rd place, from Santa Fe High School, we have Oliver Flanagan. In 2nd place, from Florida Virtual School full-time, we have Olivia Riviera. And once again, give it up for your first place winner from River City Science Academy. We have Anthony Safar. All right, so it looks like we are now about to announce our quarterfinalists and above in middle school extemporaneous debate. And here we go. So for middle school extemporaneous debate, in 8th place, give it up for actually in 8th place from Julia Landon College Preparatory School. Please put your hands together for Saranya Muldiara. In 7th place from the Bowles Schools, Shaila Patel. In 6th place from R.C. Sam Speech and Debate, please put your hands together for Sophia Alvarez. In 5th place from the Bowles School, please give it up for Maylon Johnson. In 4th place from R.C. Sam Speech and Debate, please congratulate Henry Rommel. In 3rd place from Julia Landon College Preparatory School, let's congratulate Sharavia Garg. In 2nd place from Braden River Middle School, let's congratulate Kara Young. And in 1st place from Orlando Gifted Academy, please congratulate Christoph Oganowski. All right, so that does conclude our award for the debate events. And so now we will move on to our speech events, followed by legislative debate and We the People, a Citizen Showdown. So, would all finalists in high school declamation speaking please take the stage, make your way right over here to your left. That's finalists in high school declamation speaking. And as they make their way to the stage, would all our finalists in middle school declamation speaking please report to the wing. All right, debate coaches, it looks like they're all there. So audience members, I'll ask you to listen up. As we award our high school declamation speaking, there were 6 finalists in the final round of high school declamation speaking. So in 6th place, from Polk State Chain of Lakes Collegiate High School, please congratulate Addison Johnson. In 5th place, from Newberry High School, give it up for Mia List. In 4th place, from Newsom High School, please give it up for Arohi Chavan. In 3rd place, from Osceola County School for the Arts, please congratulate Sarah Gutierrez. In 2nd place, from Tokoi Creek High School, please congratulate Tanvi Roy Chowdhury. And finally, in 1st place, from St. Brennan High School, put your hands together for Martina Polenso. All right, now that we have our finalists ready for our middle school declamation speaking, we also now need all non-advancing semifinalists in high school original oratory. Please report to the wings. Again, non-advancing semifinalists in high school original oratory. So now, in middle school, for declamation speaking, once again, there were 6 finalists. So in 6th place from the Bow Schools, we have Grace Tang. In 5th place from the Bow School, we have Bianca Lebo. In 4th place from Keystone Heights Junior Senior High School, we have Rebecca Lugo. In 3rd place from the Bow School, we have Akash Majitia. In 2nd place from Randall Middle School, we have Catherine Gunter. And put your hands together for our 1st place winner from the Bow School, Hannah Goodman. All right, our non-advancing semifinalist in high school original oratory, you will be next. But before we do that, with the finalists in high school original oratory, please take the wing. All right, so your semifinalists in high school original oratory are from Strawberry Crest High School, Vabheb Panumacha. From Pasco High School, Abby Bromley. From Orlando Science High School, it's not Abby, but it's Anaya Srinvyas. From the Bow School, we have Veda Galapali. From Imagine School at Northport, we have Roshana Moore. And from Ponte Vedra High School, we have Doa Tankut. All right, and now we will be recognizing our finalists in high school original oratory, and then now with our non-advancing semifinalists in middle school original oratory, please report to the wing. There were 6 finalists, and so in 6th place here for high school original oratory, we have from Allen D. Neese High School, Kate Poole. In 5th place from Tokoi Creek High School, we have Eileen Shaw. In 4th place from Sumner High School, we have Kennedy Solomon. In 3rd place from the Bow School, we have Riley Powell. And in 2nd place from the Bow School, we have Akash Gusani. And in first place from Panavidra High School, we have Akshara Ramaswamy. All right, now we have our non-advancing semifinalists in middle school original oratory. And then now can we have our finalists in middle school original oratory? Would you please make your way to the wings? All right, here we go. Our semifinalists in middle school original oratory were from the Horizon Charter School of Tampa, Francesca Polanco. From Stewart Middle School, we have Olivia Pope. From the Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences, we have Lily de Stackelberg. From the Bow School, we have Nuri Jain. From Horizon Charter School of Tampa, we have Kshetritra Kumar. From Randall Middle School, we have Navya Singh. All right. And so now, our finalists for middle school original oratory, I think they're ready. And so before I call their name, with non-advancing semifinalists in high school informative speaking, would you please report to the wing? And now, in middle school, in sixth place from the Bow School, we have Olivia Busby. In fifth place from the Bow School, we have Sarah Sasson. In fourth place from Canapa High Speech and Debate, we have Isadora Race. In third place from Canapa High Speech and Debate, we have Bryn Crawford. In second place from Julia Landon College Preparatory Academy, we have Sahaj Kalia. And in first place from Alice B. Landrum Middle School, we have Mahai Alwaldi. All right, and so now we should have our non-advancing semifinalists in high school informative speaking. They should be ready to take the stage. And now we also need our finalists in high school informative speaking. Please make your way to the wing. So, our semifinalists in high school informative speaking, without further ado, from Creekside High School, can I have Sanvi Banerjee? From Samuel W. Wolfson High School, please welcome to the stage Anna Phillips. Nope. Oh, perfect. Okay, not Anna. From the Bow School, we have Colton Halbrick. From Tokoi Creek High School, we have Lily Kulinan. From Tokoi Creek High School, we have Mia Venaria. And from Fort Walton Beach High School, we have Isley Judry. And before we announce our finalists in high school informative speaking, could we please have our non-advancing semifinalists in middle school informative speaking please report to the wing. And while they make their way to the stage, let's welcome now our 6 finalists in the final round of varsity for informative speaking. In 6th place from Creekside High School, we have Sadika Kasuri. In 5th place from Tokoi Creek High School, we have Christy Conifer. In 4th place from Creekside High School, we have Ayava Dostinava. That was 4th, yes. Right. And in 3rd place from the Bow School, we have Sanvi Kandu. In 2nd place from Buchholz High School, we have Kate Vige. And in 1st place from Samuel W. Wilson High School, please welcome Isaac Kakan. Before we announce our non-advancing semifinalists in middle school informative speaking, could we have the finalists in middle school informative speaking please begin to make your way to the wing? All right, here we go. The semifinalists in middle school informative speaking are from Horizon Charter School of Tampa, Fasai Krofsik. From the Bow School, we have Bella Desai. From the Bow School, we have Natasha Saini. From the Kanapa High Speech and Debate, we have Sarah Kihal. And from the Bow School, we have Alania Baldev. And also from the Bow School, last semifinalist, Dia Carr. And before we announce our finalists in middle school informative speaking, could I please have our non-advancing semifinalists in high school impromptu speaking please report to the wings? All right. For our finalists in middle school informative speaking, in 6th place from Pembroke Pines Charter Middle School West, we have Akshay Bodla. All right, in 5th place from Orlando Gifted Academy, we have Payal Sunday. In 4th place from Kanapaha Speech and Debate, we have Elania Rimbert. In 3rd place From Rowland Middle Academy, we have Brixton Chavez. And in second place from the Bowles School, we have Sanavi Patel. And in first place from Brown Barge Middle School Forensic Team, we have Chloe Allen. All right. Now, before we announce our non-advancing semifinalists in high school impromptu speaking, could we have the finalists in high school impromptu speaking please make your way to the wing? And now, audience, please listen up for our semifinalists in varsity impromptu speaking. From the City of Hialeah Educational Academy, we have Gina Perez. From Tokoi Creek High School, we have Hasya Bodu. From Lake Nona High School, we have Grace Riviera Gonzalez. From Allen D. Neese High School, we have Juliana Weldon. From Tokoi Creek High School, we have Janvi Rauchery. And from Sumner High School, we have Grace Beard. And before I announce the finalists in high school impromptu speaking, could we now have our non-advancing semifinalists in middle school impromptu speaking please report to the wing? So now, audience, let's recognize our high school impromptu speaking in sixth place. From Jaylene Sellis Independent, we have Jaylene Sellis. In fifth place, from Citrus High School, we have Gianna Marsh. In fourth place, from the Bowles School, we have Chase Rodhet. In third place, from Wildwood High School, we have Joseph Wise. And in second place, from the Bowles School, we have Matt Yakai. And in first place, please put your hands together, from Suncoast Polytechnical High School, Ada Orberly. Okay, now, would our finalists in middle school impromptu speaking please make your way to the wings? So now it's time to recognize our semifinalists in middle school impromptu speaking. Let's start with, from Pine Ridge Middle School, Avery Palmer. Your next semifinalist, from Randall Middle School, Abby Rosenthal. From the Bowles School, please welcome Carissa Coy. From Trout Creek Academy, please welcome Owen Cam. From Oakview Middle School, put your hands together for Sienna Dennis Sidhu. And your final semifinalist from Randall Middle School, please put your hands together from Ashita Lal. So now I'd like to invite to make their way to the wing all of the non-advancing semifinalists in high school extemporaneous speaking. Please make your way to the wing. All right, audience, let's please start to congratulate our 6th finalists in the final round of middle school impromptu speaking. In 6th place from Jacksonville Classical Academy, please congratulate Ella Osborne. In 5th place from Oakview Middle School, please welcome Maggie Castle. In 4th place from Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences, please congratulate Caden Thompson. In 3rd place from Jacksonville Classical Academy, congratulations to Madeline Taylor. In 2nd place from Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences, put your hands together for Harper Harris. All right, audience, in 1st place, please join me in congratulating from Julia Landon College Preparatory School, Julia Newman. All right, at this time, I need our finalists in high school extemporaneous speaking. Please make your way to the wings. Finalists in high school extemporaneous speaking. All right. Audience, listen up for me. The semifinalists in varsity extemporaneous speaking, congratulate from Wildwood High School, Kara Loudon. From Niceville High School, please welcome Eli Duggar. From Ponte Vedra High School, congratulate Jack Epstein. From Strawberry Crest High School, please welcome Kavya Sinhai. And from River City Science Academy, please join me in welcoming Attica Stevens. And from Okeechobee High School, our last semifinalist is Emmett Ryan. And students, before I announce our finalists in high school extemporaneous speaking, could I have our non-advancing semifinalists in middle school extemporaneous speaking to please report to the wing. All right, here we go. Let's congratulate our finalists in the final round of varsity extemporaneous speaking. In 6th place from Polk State Chain of Lakes Collegiate High School, let's welcome Briley Spencer. In 5th place from Okeechobee High School, please welcome Zia Maselli. In 4th place from GHS Speech and Debate Team, please congratulate Nova Porter. In 3rd place from Wildwood High School, please congratulate Jordan Miranda Juarez. In 2nd place from Samuel W. Wilson High School, please congratulate Alicia Glenn. And in 1st place from Tokoi Creek High School, please put your hands together for our big winner, Sarita Gadnam. All right, before we welcome our non-advancing semifinalists in middle school extemporaneous speaking, I'd like for our finalists in middle school extemporaneous speaking, please make your way to the wing in order to line up. So now, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, please let's congratulate our semifinalists in middle school extemporaneous speaking from Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences, Evan O'Hearn. From Rowlett Middle Academy, Autumn Frost. From Seaside Neighborhood School, please congratulate Emery Brooks. And from Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences, put your hands together for Evangeline Robinson. From Rowlett Middle Academy, please congratulate Gabriella Bender. And from the Franklin Academy K-12, let's welcome Antonella Oyola. All right. And now for our finalists in middle school extemporaneous speaking in 6th place, from Lincoln Middle School in Gainesville, please welcome Avinor Jutla. In 5th place from Orlando Gifted Academy, please congratulate Mariah Mujid. In 4th place from Lincoln Middle School in Gainesville, please welcome Iyara Verma. In 3rd place from Orlando Gifted Academy, please congratulate Zunel Bekanova. In 2nd place from Randall Middle School, congratulations to Madison Lavidas. And ladies and gentlemen, your 1st place winner from Seaside Neighborhood School, put your hands together for Emerson Blue. And ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude our speech awards. We will now move on to our legislative debate awards. We will recognize, in this category, we'll recognize finalists in high school legislative debate, and we will also recognize the top 6 in middle school legislative debate. So let's get this kicked off. Will our finalists in high school legislative debate please make your way to the wings to line up? And coaches, while our students are making their way to the stage, coaches, if you're out there, listen up. We remind you not to leave. At some point today, we will be announcing our Coach of the Year award. So coaches, we do ask that you remain with us through the entirety of our award ceremony. Looks like we got a coach out there they're rooting for. All right, our finalists now. In high school legislative, from GHS Speech and Debate Team, we have Tanish Villas. From Beachside High School, we have Sahasra Raja Shekhar. From Lake Buena Vista High School, we have George Lacombe. From Samuel W. Wolfson High School, we have Cody Begay. From Public Speaking Academy, we have Ishka Doma. And finally in this category, we have from Tokoi Creek High School, Tanush Chava. And now on to our top 6 that we're now going to recognize in high school legislative. In 6th place, from GHS Speech and Debate Team, we have Jillian Collins. In 5th place, from Pasco High School, please welcome Madison Lobianco. From the Bose School, put your hands together for Adi Yadev. In 3rd place, from Allen D. Neese High School, let's give it up for Parmes Molavi. Now we're down to our final 2. In 2nd place, from Wildwood High School, please congratulate Oscar Rubio Flores. And in 1st place, from Beachside High School, give it up for Fiona Willides. And now, on to our middle school legislative debate. For our middle school legislative debate, I will read the names of the top 6 students, but in no particular order. So these students should take the stage as their name is read. And so, in no particular order, for middle school legislative, from Ponce de Leon High School, please welcome Jaden White. from Seaside Neighborhood School, Poppy Blue. Also from Seaside Neighborhood School, Reese Atkins. From Alice B. Landry Middle School, Sasha Kuyan. And from Oakview Middle School, Victoria Cuseda. And from Alice B. Landry Middle School, Victoria Komarov. And now, on to our placements in middle school legislative debates. Please collect your trophy when I call your name, and then you can exit the stage. In sixth place, from Oakview Middle School, please welcome Victoria Dominguez. Quiseda. In fifth place, from Seaside High School, please congratulate Poppy Blue. In fourth place, from Seaside Neighborhood School, congratulations to Reese Atkins. And in third place, from Alice B. Landry Middle School, congratulations to Victoria Komarov. And now we're down to our final two as they patiently wait. In second place, from Ponce de Leon High School, congratulations to Jaden White. And in first place, from Alice B. Landry Middle School, congratulations to Sasha Kuyan. Audience members and families, thank you for putting up with some of my bad pronunciation, but that does conclude our awards for the legislative debate. And so on now to our last event, We the People, a Citizen Showdown. So here's the way that we will recognize the students in this category. We will recognize finalists in We the People, starting with high school. So will finalists for high school, We the People, please take the stage. And finalists in middle school, We the People, please report to the wing. So, for our final two award events this afternoon, in high school, We the People, in sixth place, from Creekside High School, please congratulate Tunishi Vijay. In fifth place, from Pasco High School, please congratulate Ryan Kabaj. In fourth place, from Citrus High School, please congratulate James Adams. In third place, from Niceville High School, congratulations to Carter Deering. In second place, from River City Science Academy, congratulations to James Burdian. And in first place, from Swanee High School Speech and Debate Club, please welcome Ryan Ian Smith. Congratulations. All right, and so now for our finalists in middle school, We the People. In 6th place from Merritt Brown Middle School, please congratulate Emily Davis. In 5th place from Merritt Brown Middle School, congratulations to Easton Jackson. In 4th place from Stewart Middle School, congratulations to Ethan Repass. In 3rd place from Sanford Middle School, please welcome Karan Muraya. In 2nd place from Bradford Middle School, please welcome Brentley Nasworth. And finally, your 1st place winner from John Hopkins Middle School, congratulations to Dexter Toss. So before I leave, please join me in congratulating all of our winners. Please give everybody a big round of applause. Congratulations to our students and their families.
Can you guys grab the coaches first? Daniel. Coaches, hang tight because it's your turn, coaches. Everybody make some noise for our coaches. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the award to our Coaches of the Year, and we have 7 of them. I have the distinct honor to present to you and welcome again, and first time on this stage, representative candidate, our speaker designate.
Sure. It is such an honor and a privilege to be with you today. So I've been a middle school and a high school teacher for more than 20 years, and so I know better than many teachers what you put in. And students, I know you are so grateful for the men and women who coach you, care for you, and are such an important part of why you're here today. So it's an honor for me to join you on the stage today for the Coaches Awards. Thank you.
All right, coaches, here are the instructions, just like the student. When you hear your name, please come across the stage, take your photo with the representative, and then you'll exit this way. Come out back for a photo op with the executive director of the Florida Education Foundation. The first coach we are going to recognize, the nominee wrote, I want to nominate this coach as the most valuable coach. As her 2 competitors, we've have experienced firsthand the impact she has had on our growth, our confidence, and our success. We come from a small rural community where access to extension activities is limited, yet she has always made sure we had those opportunities. She has never allowed our circumstances to define what we could achieve. She has taught us far more than speaking and argumentation. She has taught us how to think critically, how to analyze issues from multiple perspectives, and how to stand behind our ideas with confidence. It would be easy to accept limitations and settle for less, but she has never accepted that. Coming from the Northwest, ladies and gentlemen, give it up to Coach Vicky Duke, Ponce de Leon High School. Coach Duke, come on down. Oh, there she is, everybody. Once again, give it up from the Northwest. Vicky Duke, Ponce de Leon High School, Northwest Coach of the Year, Most Valuable Coach. Coming from the Northeast, where you're at. When I think of someone who constantly supporting and giving their all for our debate team, my mind immediately goes to my coach. One of my fondest memories with my coach was when I was preparing for the national championship. I had been practicing for extemp and was upset When he recognized I was upset, he took me aside and reassured me. He can be described as a bright ray of sunshine. Who is this bright ray of sunshine, you may ask? We're talking about Coach Matthew Plummer. Most valuable coach for the Northeast River City Science Academy Middle High. Coach Matthew Plummer. North Central, where you're at. A student nominated this coach. Last year was my first year of speech. I was scared, nervous, and had absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into. That first date, my coach introduced himself, and automatically, I knew speech and debate was something I wanted to pursue. And who could this coach be that in an instant moment would transform a kid's horizon? We are talking about North Central most valuable coach, Archie Barron. Canepa Middle. Congratulations, Coach. Central Florida, where you're at. This nominator said, when my coach joined this school, there was no debate team. There was no class. There was no club. My coach, or this nominee, came in and created a class full of students who wanted to do it. Coach even went to a debate competition on her own birthday. She missed her son's robotics competition to be there for us, and I'll never forget it. Who could this coach be? Karen Ronquillo, Orlando Gifted Academy. Karen Ronquillo, Orlando Gifted Academy. Our most valuable coach for Central Florida. Thank you for your sacrifices, Coach. Gulf Coast. Now, before we announce Gulf Coast, ladies and gentlemen, help me give it up to our Speech and Debate 2026 State Championship host, our tournament coordinator, Coach, your ambassadors of the Gulf Coast. I am talking about Coach Daniel Clem and Coach Elizabeth Shannon. We're so grateful for their dedicated services, and this is the second year where they played host ambassadors. Grateful for them. When our team was created in September 2024, all of the students, including myself, had no idea of the abilities, confidence, and success. Through my coach's leadership and vision, our team took a dive into the deep and competed in Florida Civics Debate Initiative tournaments in the 2024-2025 school year with great success. One of our highlights of the school year was one of my teammates. Haley was the National Civics and Debate Extemporaneous Debate Champion in January 2026. All of this in my mind, my coach has been a figure in my life that has had a profound impact and has contributed to where I am today. That coach who's making a profound impact, most valuable coach of the year for the Gulf Coast, Mark Joseph Valdez, Pasco High School. Oh my, get ready for this one. Southeast, where you're at. I want to let you know that my coach is caring. A caring coach who loves to joke around, build real connections with her students, But even though she keeps things fun, she also knows when to be serious and push us to do our best. My coach supports us, challenges us, and makes sure we're growing both in and out of debate. That's why I believe she truly deserves to be the most valuable coach of Southeast. And who could we be talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Coach Holly Adams of Okeechobee High School. Everybody make some noise for Southeast Coach and Ambassador Holly Adams. South, where you're at, 305. All right, South. All right, South. In speech and debate, my coach goes beyond winning. My coach teaches her students to speak with passion about topics that they are interested in, how they can engage with and contribute to society as respectful and educated citizens, and how they can find confidence in everything they do if they just put their minds to it. She is not only a coach, but she's a mentor, a role model who embodies true dedication, perseverance, and the spirit of this ward. You've got to make my coach the most valuable coach of the year for the South. Who is this coach? Wendy McFarley for Mattie Ives K-8 Preparatory Academy. Coach, are you here? Okay, accepting on the coach's behalf is Ambassador Adams, Natalia Adams.
Yep, I got you.
Sorry. Allen, Lord have mercy. That was Ambassador Natalia Allen, everybody. I had a senior moment there, senior moment. All right, everybody. Now, before we continue, we're going to do our FDI ambassadors, all right? But before we do that, we have to give it up to the Florida Civics and Debate Initiative staff and team who's worked extremely hard. Everybody give a round of applause to Erica Anderson. Ladies and gentlemen, the planner, the developer, the coordinator, the strategist, who has prepared more Google Sheets than I think I've ever seen in my entire life, everybody. She is your new program manager at the Florida Civics and Debate Initiative. We're talking about Kendall Lindsay, everybody. Give it up for Kendall Lindsay. She works so hard, everybody. Appreciate her. All right, everybody, ambassadors, same instructions. You're going to come up this way, and you're going to take a photo with representative candidate who's going to be presenting you with your award. First up. Everybody coming from the Gulf Coast in appreciation of your leadership and dedication as an FCDI ambassador, your efforts in advancing civic literacy, speech and debate, and student engagement has made a lasting impact across Florida. FCDI State Championship, New College of Florida, given to you by Lindsay Zander, Director of the Florida Education Foundation, Abraham Lopez. Everybody give it up for Daniel Clem. Miss Venetia Williams. Coming from Central Florida, Craig Roth. Also in Central Florida, Joshua Dunlap. Coming from the North Central, he's also a coach, Horacio Perez. Coach Horacio Perez. Coming from the Southeast, Holly Adams. If you think I'm high energy, you haven't seen anyone who has the energy that she does. We're talking about our Latin fire from South Florida, 305, Cuban, Mercedes Cortez. Also from the 305, Ambassador Natalia Allen. Coming from Northwest Florida, and now a member of the FDI team, Kendrick Rattray. Coming from the Northwest, Miss Stephanie Rhodes. Coming from the Northeast, Ambassador Shannon Southam. Everybody coming from the Northeast, our defense attorney, Robert Baker, Esquire. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, your Gulf Coast ambassador and coach, Elizabeth Shannon.
We love you, Abe.
Everybody give another round of applause for Representative Candidate. Our team. Everybody, it takes a lot of work to do this, and we could not do this without our community judges. Everybody give a round of applause to all of our judges, our parents, our guardians, our volunteers, our administrators, our principals, everyone who has played a role. Everybody give it up for our amazing sound technicians, everybody who were phenomenal this week, our video team. Now, there's someone who's stuck here who's not going to be able to go home. They're driving a Toyota. A Toyota, they have a keychain that says Everglades National Park. All right, if you know whose key this is, please have them see me. All right, it's a Toyota, and it says Everglades National Park. It's a key Toyota. On behalf of the Florida Civics and Debate Initiative, our partners, the Florida Debate Initiative, the Department of Education, the Florida Education Foundation, the Florida Office of the Governor, the House of Representatives, and the State Senate. Thank you for supporting Florida Civics and Debate Initiative. Everybody, that concludes the 2026 State Championship. Have a good night. Safe travels home, everybody.